Hello, Dad. This is Jay Warren. This is the Dadhood Journey podcast. And today's topic is this: a sibling to play with. Let's do it.
Hi, my name's Niko, and you're listening to my dad, Jay Warren. This is the Dadhood Journey podcast. Thanks for listening.
Yep. All right, so this is a question I get asked a lot. The question is, are you going to have more kids, Jay? They find out I'm a dad. They find out I am a dad of one kid, and invariably the question comes up, are you going to have more? And the obvious answer right now is because I'm a single dad, no. Even years ago, when Niko was younger and I was still with his mom, the answer was, I really think we're a one and done. Reasons being back then was kind of foreshadowing of the being a single dad right now. I didn't see that happening. But I also was an older dad to start with. I was 41 when Niko was born. Which, you know, as far as dads are concerned, like, we can have kids a lot later on than women can. But regardless, I just see myself and Niko being the pair that we are. And that doesn't mean that by in the future that if I start seeing somebody else, that more kids won't be in my life. But I kind of foresee the way things would go with a new woman in my life would be somebody that already has kids, and there'd be a blending of things rather than me being with somebody that wanted to have kids herself. Anyway, that's not the subject. The subject of this is a sibling to play with, because going back to one and done, and Niko's going to be an only child, regardless of like a blended family, either on my side or on his mom's side later in life, the questions get asked like, well, what about having a sibling for him to play with? And I've always questioned that thinking of having another kid to have the older one to have a playmate and everything, simply because I was an older brother. I have a younger brother who's 3.5 years younger than me, and we as kids played really well compared to many brothers and many siblings, and we were just on different pages. I mean, if you have whatever age your kiddo is now, think of a kid 2 years younger and how much they're going to be able to play together. I mean, when one's riding bikes, the other one's like, you're always trying to make sure they don't run into the street. Or if one's playing Legos, the other one, the younger one's like trying to eat them. You know, and they're just not going to play in the same ways. Now, can it work? Of course. And maybe later on in life, that might be something that like an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, if they get along well on trips and things, can can play well together and amuse each other on trips and everything. But I'm seeing very clearly with Niko's best friends next door, the girls, they're 6 and 3, and it's just a totally different way of playing. I mean, the olders, Niko and the older girl, like they tolerate the younger very well, but the younger one gets frustrated because she wants to do everything that the older kids are doing, and she can't. And the older kids are getting frustrated that she's not playing the game right because she's 3 and she just doesn't know. And it's just kind of a source of tension with playing all together and playing nicely. Now, it's a very good life lesson, yes, but the thought of like if Niko had a younger sibling that was, say, a 2-year or a 3-year split, which is kind of common, the same way that I was with my brother, for a number of years, that split is really a challenge. I mean, they're on different pages as far as mental activities, physical activities, temperament, all those kind of things. So that a sibling to play with, like, came up this weekend with somebody asking me kind of about my current situation and what about Niko. And I brought up this very example of like the kid playing with the kids next door and how much of a challenge it is. I do see, and somebody brought up something about a sibling, not necessarily to play with, but for later on in life, when the parents pass on, to have family together in that way. And I see value in that. And there was another one that was a little, I thought was a little strange, but was a reality for this parent that brought it up, of having a sibling to share the load when their parents became older and had to be cared for and were sick and had to be managed, and like they could share the load between two siblings. I definitely wouldn't use that as a criteria of like, hey, I think we should have, like, Niko have a brother and sister, because when I get so old that I can't remember my name and I'm ornery and have to be driven around town and the like, we need to have 2 Uber drivers and 2 people to manage me. I don't know. I just don't think that's a good reason to have a second kid. I think the reason why you'd want to have a second kid and a third kid and a fourth kid is because you want a lot of family around and you love that idea. Quite honestly, I've always wanted to be a dad. I thought I was going to have a lot more kids than just one, but I started off way later in life. It just didn't work out earlier in life to have kids with the partners I was with, and relationships the way they went and everything. And so be it. Like, fast forward, like, Niko's in my life and I couldn't be happier. I'm super happy to be with him and for us to be 2. And, for him and his mom to be 2. That's just the way our family shook out. And I don't have any regrets of Niko being an only child. I think it is something that, knowing he's an only child, it inspires me, pushes me to have him to have a lot of friends around, and to form really good relationships so he can have that brotherhood or a sisterhood relationship with friends later on in life to kind of simulate, or I don't want to say take the place, but be that part of his life later on. And it can be bond by or family by bond rather than by blood, just because blood didn't shake out that way, right? So I'm curious about, for you, Dad, like, if you're a first-time dad, are you looking at having second kids? Is it because it's always been in a plan, like you want to have lots of kids and thirds and fourths? Is it because of having a sibling? Is it because 2's better than 1? Only children are going to be screwed up because they're going to be self-important and have everything catered towards them. That's in my back of my mind too, about the only child syndrome. I'll do another episode on that. But anyway, that was my musings on that, like the sibling issue and having a playmate. Like, that age split just does not make a difference. Maybe it's different for you. Maybe your kids are peas in a pod. I'd love to hear about that. Reach out, put it in the Slack group, the new Slack group that we found. If you're still in the Facebook group, post it there. Just let me know, like, how that works and how it's working for you, because I hope that it is, whichever direction it's going. So until the next episode, Dad, take good care of yourself, take good care of your families, and we'll connect on that next episode.
Thanks for listening to that episode. Guess what? My dad just formed a new thing. It's called a Slack group.
What's that?
I don't know, but you can find more about it and join if you go to thedadhoodjourney.com. See you there. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.